Hey everybody, welcome back to the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. My name is Scott. If you're looking for reviews of different whiskeys such as bourbons, ryes, American style whiskeys, Irish whiskey on occasion, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also make sure to hit the bell notification. That's going to alert you to when I'm doing new uploads, live streams, things along those lines. If you're a supporter and subscriber to my channel already, thank you so much for all of your support. I greatly appreciate it. If you're interested in supporting or contributing to the channel, you can through my Patreon page, which again, I'll have linked in the description below. So today from Big River Distilling out of Memphis, Tennessee, we've got two of their whiskeys. First is going to have the Blue Note Bourbon and the Riverset Rye. So what I'll do with it being a bourbon and rye, I'll work first with the bourbon and then work our way to the rye whiskey. So the way you see the bottles up here is how I have it actually below as well. So again, like I said before, we'll start with the bourbon and work our way to the rye. So if you're new to this, typically what I try to do is with my reviews is we'll go through the appearance, we'll nose it, we'll taste it, we'll get into the finish part of it, and then go through really any other general information regarding either the product or the channel itself. So why don't we go ahead and we'll kind of get into the review. So first, again, we'll start with the Blue Note small batch straight bourbon whiskey, again from Big River Distilling out of Memphis, Tennessee. So a little bit of information again on this one. Mash bill on this was undisclosed. This is bottled at 93 proof or 46.5% ABV. This is 9-year age stated, so with it being a small batch, we know the minimum age of the whiskeys batched or blended is going to be 9 years old. MSRP on this was right around that between $50 and $55 price point. And again, we'll work our way to the rye and I'll give you more of that information as we get there. So why don't we go ahead and we'll get into the review. All right, so as you can see with this, you know, kind of a nice, kind of light copper type of color to that, maybe a light mahogany type of color to that. And again, this is non-chill filtered, so it's clinging to the glass, sticking to the glass really nicely, which most of the time bourbons or whiskeys in general that have no chill filtration done to it, you know, it allows for all those oils and fatty acids to remain in the product, which kind of gives it a little bit more of an oiliness kind of texture to it. So, all right, let's get into the nose on this. So right away, you're getting a lot of kind of like a nice caramel note to it. There's definitely a little bit of this nuttiness, like a maple nuttiness to it. A nice like a vanilla cream or a creme brulee. Some brown sugars. Even a citrus note to it, more of a green citrus, maybe like an apple type of note to that. But more of the kind of the caramelized, the brown sugars, a little bit of that nuttiness kind of wanting to come through. Some maple there again. Yeah, really, really nice nose on that. So let's give this a try. Cheers. So my first thought is initially a little bit of heat right up front. Again, 93 proof. Then you're hit with, and again, the impression, there's this nice creaminess to the product. It's nice and oily, so it's sticking to the mouth, coating the mouth really nicely. Leaves that caramelized sugar, maple type of note to it. Again, a little bit of dryness to it, some light peanut nuttiness to it. That vanilla cream is kind of starting to come through a little bit more. That's more of the mid to the back of the palate. So there's that little bit of oak sweetness there, vanilla sweetness. Again, that nuttiness is there, but it starts to kind of go away. That's more up front or the front of the palate. Then you start get hit with more of the vanillas and the caramels on the mid to the back of the palate. Yeah, it's you know, that oak that's there really then kind of develops into this maple nutty kind of sweetness. That vanilla is there. Really nice bourbon. It's got some really good flavor. Again, something that doesn't get talked about a lot is, you know, how bourbons or whiskeys kind of coat the mouth. And I think that has a lot to do with just the overall flavor in general. And when you get a non-chill filtered whiskey, they tend to really coat the mouth well, you know, impart a lot of different flavors. Even at lower proofs, you start to get or pick up or pull out a lot more of the flavor of that whiskey. So I do appreciate companies who do the non-chill filtering. I think it just allows for a more kind of full-bodied, you know, flavorful whiskey. Yeah, again, that nice just oak, vanilla, nutty, maple sweetness that's there. Finishes maybe a little bit on the dry side, and as it begins to kind of work its way into the finish part of it, you start to maybe get a little bit more of that leather tobacco type of note, which a lot of times I do on things that are more on the drier side. That's a note that I kind of pull out of that. So really, really nice, you know, bourbon whiskey. For 9 years old, it's got a lot of good flavor to it, well balanced. So I think they've done a really, really nice job with that. So. All right, so let's move on to their rye. So this is going to be the Riverset straight rye whiskey, and this is going to be aged 3 years. So we know, again, with it being a small batch and age stated 3 years, that the youngest whiskey in this blend will be 3 years old. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of get into that. So. All right, so a little bit of information on this. So again, this is the Riverset Rye small batch, again, straight rye whiskey, 93 proof, also non-chill filtered, aged 3 years. MSRP on this one is between $35 and $40. Again, non-chill filtered, 93 proof, $35 to $40. Riverset straight rye whiskey. So. All right, so as you can see, very, very close to the same type of color that I was getting from the bourbon, kind of a, you know, a darker honey, light mahogany type of color. And again, as I move it around in the glass, it's coating the glass really well. Very, very similar to how the bourbon was. So, all right, let's get into the nose on this. Oh boy. So right away you get hit with a little bit of that light mint note to it. A nice vanilla note is there. Some caramel. You're definitely getting that rye spice, that rye spice in itself type of note. Even a bit of a floral note to that as well. Some light cinnamon. Even a touch of like nutmeg on this. And even maybe a kind of a light like berry note, like a you know, some of the dark fruits, but just kind of a lighter note to it. Yeah, some oak is present there as well. Really nice nose to that. So I'll be interested to see what this is. So, All right, let's give this a try. Cheers. So my initial thought is it's a very creamy rye whiskey. Fairly sweet up front, so you're getting a lot of that vanilla type of sweetness, little bit of rye spices there, some oak presence to it, even a little bit of a kind of a floral note to that. It's just more of a sweeter note. Does coat the mouth as well, if not better than the bourbon did. Yeah, just a nice rye spice, really nice and rich and creamy. Again, that vanilla note is there with an underlying little bit of a kick to it, a little bit of rye spices there. Maybe a touch of dill, not very much at all. More on the minty side of it with it being the rye whiskey. But again, more sweetness, more of that creamy vanilla rye spice type of sweetness. Really wants to sit there on that mid to the back of the palate. Again, like I said before, coats the mouth really, really nicely. Not much dryness to it. However, there is a little bit of a leather note to it. Yeah, it's a nice rye whiskey. I would say finish wise, it's probably more on maybe the shorter side of medium. However, it does leave you again as the finish develops with that nice kind of vanilla, that creamy vanilla sweetness. A little bit of rye spice there on the back. Not much heat to it at all. The heat is more up front or initial. That goes away fairly quickly, and then again that just kind of works its way into more of the rye vanilla sweetness that's there. Even a little bit of as the finish has started to kind of develop, a little bit of a kind of a peanut butter type of note to that as well. But again, you've got that maple, that kind of creamy vanilla maple, with a nice little kind of rye kick to it. Really nice and interesting, rye whiskey. This would be one that would just be really nice, very approachable. I would say this is more of a bourbon profile for a rye whiskey than. If you're getting somebody into rye whiskey, this would be somewhere that would be really nice to start. I think it would be very approachable for a rye whiskey. Again, with the mash bill being undisclosed, I don't know how heavy the rye is on this, but for me, it's drinking more along the lines of a bourbon than it is necessarily a rye whiskey. But an absolutely fantastic rye whiskey. So. Yeah, this would be one that I would definitely recommend for people. I think they've done a nice job with these. These are a source product out of Tennessee. I don't know the distillery was undisclosed on this, but really nice product. So give them a check. So again, the Big River Distilling out of Memphis, Tennessee. Again, from left to right, the Blue Note straight bourbon whiskey and the Riverset straight rye whiskey. So with that being said, so leave some comments, thumbs up. Let me know if this is something that you've had, your thoughts on that. If you have had it, let me know again your thoughts on that. Always interested to know whether or not people are trying some of these things. Again, some of the products I've got up here, I'll have linked in the description below. Glasses, challenge coins, things along those lines. So if that's of any interest to you, check that out. But again, like I say, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.